Hi friends, welcome back to Elfin' Around. So today we're going to be doing a Gandalf the Grey, Lord of the Rings inspired outfit for your elf. So we're going to be doing the props first, the staff and the beard, and then we're going to move on to the next video and we're going to do the cloak and the hat. So this is how they turned out, and we're not spending a lot. We're just going to the Dollar Tree and we're going to be using a couple of items to make the staff and the beard. So first you're going to need one of these pens. You can find these at the checkout aisle, and I believe they're in the stationery aisle as well. There's two kinds. There's one with a pearl on top and one with the gem. You're going to probably want the one with the gem. And then we're going to be using some Mod Podge and also some of that packing paper that you get with all of those lovely packages that we get during the holidays. So the first thing we're going to do is just rip about 4 or 5 strips of the packing paper, and then we're going to twist the second half on those. So the bottom half you're going to leave and the top half you're going to twist all the way up. You're going to use some hot glue, and you're going to hot glue the bottom half onto the stem of that pen, and then you're going to twist it a quarter turn up to those prongs, and you're going to glue the twisted part up there. You're going to go all the way around the pen and repeat. And I did only end up using 4 of these. There are 4 prongs, but depending on how you want your staff to look, you can add that extra one if you want the gem to show a little bit less. So after I glued them to the prongs, then you're going to do another quarter turn and you're going to glue it to the gem. So the twisted part is going to be glued to the gem as well, almost to the top of it, not right to the apex of it, but basically right before you get to that top part, you're going to hot glue that down. Now the point of all of this is when you look at Gandalf's staff, you can see that the branches, it's basically supposed to look like, you know, a wooden stick, and the branches are kind of twisted up around the gem that's in the middle. So you're trying to make it look as close to the original as possible. Obviously this is just a prop, so don't go crazy, but you know, it doesn't take any more effort to make it look authentic. So just do the best that you can. And we are going to Mod Podge all of that down, so don't worry about it sticking too much. So you're just going to rip up some paper, and then we're going to start Mod Podging onto the base of the pen. Now I'm not gonna lie, I lost my footage here and so I'm going to just go over what I did to get to this point, and I am going to demonstrate this. So with those ripped up pieces of paper, I just ended up doing the base first, and then you're going to follow along with those strips that were glued to the top of the pen, if that makes sense. So you're just going to put a little bit of Mod Podge down, and then you're going to attach one of the pieces of paper, and then you're going to Mod Podge on top of it. And that's all there is to decoupaging your pen. It's really inexpensive and it comes out really, really good. I show you the finished product at the end of the video. So you just wrap it around, and then you're going to Mod Podge right on top of it. Now I made my own Mod Podge. I didn't go to the store and buy any. When Walmart has their back to school sales at the beginning of the year, I just buy a bunch of that glue for 25 cents. And all you do is dump that glue into a container, and you add equal parts glue and water. And I normally just dump the glue in the container. I add some warm water to whatever's left in the glue bottle, shake it up a little bit, and add it to the container and stir it around. So for 25 cents, you have a ton of Mod Podge that's homemade instead of buying it from the store. So I'm just showing you right there. There's a little bit of hot glue that I saw, and that's gonna bother me. That's just how I am. You don't have to be as nitpicky as I am, but that's just how I roll. So add a little bit of extra paper on there, and you can just go ahead and Mod Podge on top of it. Now I'm going to kind of explain what I did after this point. Like I said, you're going to Mod Podge all of that extra paper that went from the gem down, and it's going to just lay perfectly. You're just going to kind of twist and pinch while you're getting it into place. You'll see me do it here. And that's really going to just kind of mold that paper to where you want it to be. And it's also going to remove a little bit of excess glue. I'm wearing gloves. Please wear gloves. I mean, if it doesn't bother you, you do not have to, but you know, things can get a little sticky, especially if you're trying to tear off extra paper. So wear the gloves, and I'm just going to show you what I did up here. So at the top of the staff, you're going to see his branches kind of twist together and form a little bit of a point. So I'm just kind of getting a bunch of Mod Podge up there, and then I'm going to pinch and twist to make that little point. And don't worry about getting the Mod Podge on the gem. It actually helps to make it look more authentic. So when I bought the supplies for this, I was thinking of maybe replacing the gem with some sea glass to make it look a little less transparent. But I figured, you know, adding the glue is going to do that for me. So don't even bother. It turns out great. And here I'm just kind of giving you an idea of what it was like to glue down the extra pieces that came off that first part that we hot glued down. So just so you have an idea, it's the same as before. You're basically just adding paper until you like the way that it looks. And it's going to dry a little bit lighter than this, but not much. So if you feel like you wanted to paint it, you go ahead. I think it turned out just the way I wanted it to, but you can definitely paint it if you want to. And there's a little piece there on the left-hand side. You can see that was the top of the pen. You can just Mod Podge the entire thing and not even worry about separating it, but I thought it'd be kind of cool to have this as a pen afterwards, so I just did that separately. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to the beard. You're gonna find these little Santa picks. They come in a 2-pack at the Dollar Tree, so 2 for $1.25, and you're basically going to disassemble this. So it's held together with hot glue. It's not hard to take apart. Don't throw that hat away. I'm hopefully going to be making hats for our elf friends, but right now we're just using the little beard part that comes with it. And I'll just say these things are amazing. You can just use these for a Santa beard if you want to dress up your elf as a Santa. I'm planning on doing something special with that. I will show you in another video, but right now we're just going to use part of it. And you could probably get 2 beards out of one of these, so 4 total between the 2 of them. But I was trying to get the best shape of beard for this because I really wanted it to look authentic, so I ended up just kind of ripping it where the longest part was at a point. Okay, so we're just gonna measure. I'm not exact in anything that I do. I kind of just measure with the way that I think it looks good. I don't use rulers typically. I just kind of go with it. It gets too stressful to me if I have to measure everything like crazy. You'll see when I do my hat and my cloak, same thing. I don't use any type of sewing pattern. I just measure my elf, kind of trace around it, and I go with the flow. So if that makes you guys stressed out, I'm sorry, but that's how I craft and that's how I have fun. So we're kind of just going from ear to ear with the elf, giving a little bit of leeway, and I am just snipping a little bit at the top, and then I'm ripping the rest of it. So that's gonna create that beard that doesn't have the perfect little snips on the side. You want that extra hair, I guess, to kind of flow over the side. So if you kind of tear it instead of cutting the entire way down, it gives you that really nice fluffed out beard effect. And I'm just making sure that it fits the way that I want it to. So what I'm going to do is grab this pack of hair ties. I think I've talked to you guys about this before. They're 500 count. These are the clear ones. They also come in black, and I believe they have brown, but I always use the clear. They're perfect for doing hats or beards, or I think I used it for the eye mask before. The only thing I will say is that if you are using hot glue, which I typically do for this kind of thing, these are made of rubber and plastic, so they are not going to hold up well. If it's too hot, they will snap. But luckily we get 500 of them, so I just kind of use the hot glue. I position it. I hope that it doesn't snap, but I think I had to do this 3 times before it finally didn't snap, which is fine. It's not a big deal. It takes 2 seconds. So if it snaps, just, put another one in its place and use a little bit more hot glue and you'll finally get it. But I like this because it's very stretchy. It has a lot of give to it. It's thin, it's clear, so, it looks really good in the final product. Okay, and that's our beard. So this is Gandalf the Grey, so we do have to paint it. I was thinking about the best way to do this. I was going to use eyeshadow at one point. My husband said to try graphite, but I just grabbed my daughter's watercolor paint palette and I used a little bit of paper towel, kind of dabbed off whatever was extra so it wasn't too much, and I kind of just, it's kind of like dry brushing if you've ever done that before. You're just going to dab it into the watercolor, kind of wipe off the excess, and then you're just going to stroke down very gently so that you don't get too much paint in one area. I did do this a couple of times. I also lifted the beard up and I went underneath a little bit. I'll show you the finished product at the end, but it turned out really good and it was really, really easy and very cost effective. I didn't have to buy any extra paint or anything. I already had this in the house. But if you don't have watercolors, like I said, maybe some eyeshadow, or like I said, my husband used thought of graphite, which was a good idea. So this is the finished staff after it's dried completely. You can see that the gem is much more translucent instead of transparent, and everything is dry and it has that beautiful wood look to it. And like I said, I did a couple of layers of that gray and I think it turned out pretty good. This is our finished Gandalf. Please like and subscribe.